Rachel called the blood drive hotline after seeing the emergency alert. The city's blood bank was critically low, and they needed her rare type immediately. She never imagined they'd use that same blood to destroy her life. Rachel's phone buzzed at 6:47 a.m. with an emergency alert she'd never seen before. Critical blood shortage. Type AB negative donors needed immediately. Lives at risk. Report to nearest donation center within 24 hours. She stared at the message, coffee mug halfway to her lips. A B negative. That was her type. Rare as they come. The alert wasn't asking for volunteers. It was a direct order. Rachel had donated blood before, plenty of times. Always felt good about it. Saving lives, helping people, being useful to society. But this felt different. More urgent, more mandatory. She grabbed her keys and headed to the downtown collection center, thinking she'd be done in an hour and back to her normal Thursday morning routine. She had no idea she was about to become a murder suspect. The blood donation center looked busier than Rachel had ever seen it. Lines of people, all checking their phones, all responding to the same emergency alert. Nurses moved between stations with practiced efficiency, drawing blood, labeling tubes, rushing everything to the back processing area. "Rachel Morrison?" A nurse called her name from the intake desk. "That's me." "A B negative, correct?" "We've been waiting for you." Waiting for her. That seemed odd, but Rachel didn't think much of it. Rare blood type, emergency situation. Made sense they'd want her donation quickly. The intake process was more thorough than usual. Extra forms, additional medical questions, a complete health screening that took nearly 30 minutes. "Just making sure we get the highest quality samples," the nurse explained. "These donations are going directly to emergency surgeries." Rachel rolled up her sleeve and watched the dark red liquid fill not one bag, but 3. More than she'd ever given before. Is that normal? For emergency situations, yes. We need to maximize collection from rare donors. The nurse labeled each bag carefully, scanning barcodes, entering data into a computer system Rachel couldn't see. Very official. Very documented. "Thanks for responding so quickly," the nurse said as Rachel prepared to leave. "Your donation will save lives today." Rachel felt good walking out. Tired, but good. She'd done something important. 2 days later, the police knocked on her door. "Rachel Morrison? You're under arrest for the murder of David Chen." Rachel's mind went blank. "I'm sorry, what?" "David Chen was found dead in his apartment yesterday morning. Your blood was at the crime scene." Her blood. At a crime scene. "That's impossible. I donated blood 2 days ago, but I've never heard of David Chen. I don't even know who that is." Detective Williams held up an evidence bag containing what looked like a bloody kitchen knife. "Your DNA is all over this weapon, Ms. Morrison. Lab results came back this morning." Rachel stared at the bag, her stomach dropping. There has to be some mistake. "No mistake. We have video footage of you entering the donation center, documentation of your blood draw, and now forensic evidence linking you directly to this murder." The detective's partner stepped forward. "You have the right to remain silent." As they read her rights, Rachel's mind raced. Her blood at a crime scene. How was that possible? She'd been at home all week, except for the donation center. Then a horrible thought occurred to her. The donation center. The extra bags of blood. The careful labeling. "Detective, I need to tell you something about the blood drive." "Save it for your lawyer, Ms. Morrison." But Rachel couldn't save it. As they put her in the back of the police car, She realized she wasn't the only person who'd received that emergency alert. There had been dozens of people at the donation center, all of them giving blood, all of them getting carefully documented, all of them now having their DNA in some kind of system. What if David Chen hadn't been the only murder? What if there were others? What if the emergency blood drive hadn't been about saving lives at all? At the police station, Rachel's worst fears were confirmed. "We've had 7 murders in the past month," Detective Williams explained during her interrogation. "All different weapons, all different victims, all with DNA evidence pointing to recent blood donors. 7 murders. 7 donors. You're saying someone is using donated blood to frame people for murder?" "I'm saying we have physical evidence linking you to a crime scene, and you don't have an alibi for the time of death." Rachel gripped the metal table. "When was David Chen killed?" "Tuesday night, between 9 and 11 p.m. Tuesday night." Rachel had been home alone, watching Netflix. No witnesses. No way to prove where she'd been. "Detective, think about this logically. Why would I donate blood using my real name and then use that same blood to commit murder? That would be the stupidest plan ever." Williams leaned back in his chair. "People do stupid things when they're desperate. Maybe you thought we wouldn't make the connection. Or maybe someone else made the connection for you." The detective frowned. "What do you mean?" Rachel took a deep breath. "Someone knew that blood donations create a perfect DNA database. Someone knew that emergency alerts would bring in donors quickly. Someone knew that people who donate blood are usually law-abiding citizens with no alibis for random Tuesday nights." "You're suggesting an elaborate conspiracy?" "I'm suggesting someone very smart figured out how to commit perfect murders by framing innocent people." Williams studied her for a long moment. "Even if that's true, which I doubt, we still have your blood at the crime scene, which was taken from a donation center 2 days before the murder. Can you prove that timeline?" Rachel's heart sank. Could she? The donation had happened on Tuesday morning, the murder Tuesday night. But who would believe her story about stolen blood? "I want to see the other cases, the other donors who were framed." "That's not how this works." "Detective, please. If I'm right, there are innocent people in jail right now, and whoever's really doing this is still out there." Williams exchanged a look with his partner. Something in Rachel's voice must have gotten through to them. "Give us a minute." They left Rachel alone in the interrogation room. Through the one-way mirror, she could hear muffled voices, arguments, phone calls. When they returned, Williams looked troubled. "We contacted the other suspects from similar cases. 3 of them claimed they'd donated blood shortly before their alleged crimes." Rachel felt a surge of hope. All at the same donation center? Different locations, but all responding to emergency alerts for rare blood types. The pieces were falling into place. Someone was targeting specific blood types, creating emergencies to collect samples, then using those samples to frame donors for murders. "Detective, who organizes the emergency blood drive alerts?" "The Regional Blood Authority. It's a government health agency." "And who has access to the collected blood?" Williams was quiet for a moment. "Hospital staff, lab technicians, transport personnel, quite a few people. Someone with access to both the donation system and crime scene investigation procedures." The detective's expression darkened. "What are you implying?" "I'm implying that whoever's doing this knows exactly how forensic evidence works. They know how to plant blood evidence that will hold up in court. They know which donors to target and when." Williams stood up abruptly. "This conversation is over." "Why?" Because I'm getting too close to something? Because you're a murder suspect trying to blame everyone except yourself. But Rachel could see doubt in his eyes, the same doubt she'd had when they first arrested her. Detective, just answer one question. In all 7 cases, was the forensic evidence the only thing linking the suspects to the victims? Williams hesitated. The evidence speaks for itself. That's not an answer. No other connections between suspects and victims were found. No other connections. 7 random people, 7 random victims. The only link was blood evidence that could have come from donation centers. Someone is using the blood donation system to create perfect fall guys for murder, Rachel said quietly. And unless you stop them, they're going to keep killing people and destroying innocent lives. Williams stared at her for a long moment. Then he left the room again. This time, Rachel could hear heated phone conversations through the door. Multiple voices, arguments about jurisdiction, evidence, and something called the Chen investigation. When Williams returned, he wasn't alone. A woman in a federal agent's jacket followed him into the room. Ms. Morrison, I'm Agent Torres with the FBI. We need to talk. Rachel felt a mix of relief and terror. The FBI meant her theory was being taken seriously. It also meant this was bigger than she'd imagined. How many victims? Rachel asked. 17 murders across 4 states, all with DNA evidence from recent blood donors, all donors with rare blood types, all donors who responded to emergency collection alerts. 17 innocent people in jail, 17 families destroyed. Do you know who's behind it? Agent Torres sat down across from her. We have a suspect. Someone with access to both the Regional Blood Authority database and local police forensic labs. Someone on the inside. Someone who's been systematically creating murder cases with guaranteed convictions. DNA evidence is almost impossible to challenge in court. Rachel felt sick. They've been building a perfect crime system. And you, Ms. Morrison, just helped us prove it. Over the next 6 hours, Rachel told Agent Torres everything about the donation experience, the extra thorough intake process, the multiple bags of blood, the careful documentation. Most importantly, she helped them understand the victim selection process. Rare blood types get priority emergency alerts, Rachel explained. A B-negative donors almost always respond quickly because we know how critical our donations are. Making you predictable targets? Exactly. Plus, people who donate blood regularly are usually responsible citizens. We have jobs, pay taxes, stay out of trouble. Perfect candidates for framing because we don't have alibis for random crimes. Agent Torres nodded grimly. The killer knew that law-abiding citizens are easier to convict because juries trust DNA evidence more than character witnesses. By evening, Rachel was released on her own recognizance while the FBI investigation continued. By the end of the week, they'd arrested Dr. Marcus Webb, a lab technician who'd worked for both the Regional Blood Authority and the Police Forensic Department. Webb had been collecting blood samples from emergency drives, then using them to stage crime scenes for murders he committed during his off hours. 17 murders over 2 years. 17 innocent people convicted on the basis of planted DNA evidence. The case made national news. The blood frame murders became a cautionary tale about trusting forensic evidence and the vulnerability of DNA databases. Rachel testified at Webb's trial and at the appeals hearings for his victims. Watching innocent people walk free from prison was the only thing that made her ordeal feel worthwhile. But she never donated blood again. The emergency alerts still came to her phone. A B-negative shortages, critical need, lives at risk. Rachel deleted every message. She'd learned that sometimes helping people could be the most dangerous thing you could do. And sometimes the systems designed to protect society could be turned against the very people they claimed to serve. 3 months after her arrest, Rachel received a letter from the Regional Blood Authority thanking her for her continued commitment to community health and inviting her to join their volunteer advisory board. She threw the letter in the trash. Some invitations weren't worth accepting.
The story ends, but the system continues. This channel survives because of you. Like, subscribe, and share. The next transmission awaits on screen.